Howdy folks, you are halfway through the working week, so congratulations to you. We are nearly there. We are 2 days away, or not even that now, from the weekend, which is really, really cool. First of all, if you like what I'm doing on the channel, please consider going to the Patreon down below and giving to the channel. Only what you can afford, of course. Or becoming a member of the channel, that also works. Or simply liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you're not already subscribed. That would be great. Also, yeah, we're making good progress on towards our $750 a month target. If I can get to that, then I will be very sorely tempted to remove all the ads from my videos, because I have Prime now, and I'm just realising how much nicer it is to not have ads on videos. So, yeah, there you go. Also, continue to support Composite Games. They give you 5% off at checkout if you use the promo code Northern Exile down below. Whenever you get your models, it makes sure that I can get more stuff for the prize draws that we're going to do in the middle of every single month. And if you do that, if you become a Patreon or a member of the channel, you'll be automatically entered into the prize draw in the middle of every single month, where you have 2 chances to win £30 of free models from Composite Games, no matter what game you play, whether it's Games Workshop or whatever, you know. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world either. I'll cover the cost of sending them to you if you're not in the UK. So there you go. Right, moving on. You know, a few hobby nightmares today. Some of them are more, shall we say, frustrating than others. But first of all, Inquisitor Trejo says, "Hi North, English is not my first language, so sorry for any mistakes." Alright, here we go. I'm going to have to start concentrating on this one. "I don't know if this can be considered a hobby horror story, but let me tell you a story of how I almost threw my contribution to your painting competition in the bin." Okay. "I was reading a novel at the time when the current competition started, and that gave me an idea for a nice model. So I started planning and gathering materials for a cool model and a fitting diorama around it. I made a graveyard in a winter setting with gravestones and creepy trees made out of roots that I found in the woods. It was really beautiful. I had the day off today, so I wanted to finish everything and call it good, call it finished. I got the diorama, and to my horror, all of the snow turned an ugly brown. Oh, Jesus. I used loose tea craft paint and old coffee grounds as paste, and it looked like the glue that I used to fix the snow pulled the colour off of the paste and turned everything brown. Oh no. I was almost quitting the whole project, but I thought if I do this, it would bug me to no end. So I decided to spend the whole day making a new bunch of smaller diorama so I can still enter, because I have to work the rest of the week. And let me tell you, it was a horror show. After finding a piece of wood tile and sanding it down to get it the right size, my idiot brain almost made the same mistake again. So I went outside and primed 2 times with spray cans, all the while it started to rain. So I ran inside and dried everything off with a blow dryer. After that, I fixed snow again with the same glue. Why do I have this image of you living in a cabin in the woods? I don't know why. After that, I fixed the snow again with the same glue, and I saw everything start to turn brown again. I blasted it with white spray, and I think that did the trick. After several hours of gluing the model back together and repainting parts where the texture paste came loose, I call it done. I will submit my entry in an hour or so. Hope you like it. And I hope my little story inspires some people to not give up when things look bad, like when things look shit at first." Yeah, hobbyists do that all the time, man. They'll get to a certain stage with a model, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is shit," and they'll just put it down and they'll come back to it again. And you know what? Sometimes I can't really blame them, because sometimes it can be, if you spend all that time on a model, it can be extremely off-putting to actually have to come back to it time and time again and try and figure out just what the hell to do. But hey, seems like you got over it, and seems like you used the original model as well. So you figured out. So what Inquisitor Trejo, I think what he did is he put this model aside, went and worked on another one, and when the same thing started happening with that one, he fixed it, and then thought, well, wait a minute, if I can fix this doing this, then why can't I fix the original one? Then went back and fixed the original one. I do that quite a lot with models. If I'm struggling with something, I'll put it down for a while. And eventually, I may learn a new technique or a new piece of painting. For instance, for the Chaos Warband I'm doing, I wanted them to have black armor, but I didn't want them to look like Black Legion. So one entire arm, their right arm, is bronze, and the rest of it is just highlighted nicely with you know, with normal black highlighting, like greys and stuff, and silvers and things. And I was going to put that project on hold until I had a really nice way to get the black without looking like Black Legion. So in the end, I went with this, and it looks pretty cool, and, you know, now I can do it. So yeah, it always works that way. So, Butcher's Nails is next, and he says, "Hello North, hope everything is going well on your side of the pond. I have a dilemma. I was hoping you could maybe help me solve. So my town only has one local game store, but a sizable community of around 30, and recently I haven't felt welcome as part of it, and I don't know what I should do to get my gaming fix." Okay. It all started back in 2016, following the presidential election. Oh, I can see where this is going. Myself and about 4 others were on one side, while the rest of the group, including the local game store, was on the other. Dude, why are you guys talking about politics in a fucking game store? This is why you don't do it. This is why you don't bother. This is why it shouldn't have a place in game stores whatsoever. It just shouldn't have a place. Anyway. We all knew each other's beliefs, but we were adults and respected each other and kept that out of the gaming group as much as possible. Okay. But it never ends that way though, dudes. It never keeps. It always ends up finding its way. It's like an insidious cancer. It always ends up finding its way into the fucking hobby. Following the results of the election, the LGS-aligned group became more radicalized, many declaring themselves outright communists, and the peace that existed in the group was broken. Yeah, this is the 2016 election, so this is when Trump got in. Yeah, I can imagine that the leftists in that group are all. This happened to me as well. You know, I was always a person who was like, I thought Trump was a dick. But if it was a choice between the devil and a fucking dope. You know, Trump's a dope, but fucking Hillary was the devil, dude. Like, it's not even, you know, that's Illuminati level shit she's involved in. But yeah, following the results of the election, the LGS-aligned group, which is the Democrat side of the group, became more radicalized, as they tend to do when they lose, making many declaring themselves outright communists. You know what? It's the far right and left to do that whenever they lose. It's just the right have done it so many times that people just stop caring, because they're like, oh well, there they go again. You know, January 6th, you know what I mean? Like people going crazy on it, but it was still like, you know, when you actually look at what happened. You know, as revolutions go, it's pretty shit. Let's steal a few chairs. Okay, fair enough. It devolved into... do you know what? That actually happened. The weekend I got to America, that happened. Like, I literally got to America, finally, and that occurred. Like the January 6th things occurred. So, which is good for me, because I was a social studies teacher. So I was like, oh, this is very interesting. And do you know what? The kids there were remarkably... so basically, my cooperating teacher was a raging lefty, like really, really, really left, and we always got on like house on fire because I'm a centrist, right-leaning. But like, you know, he was really nice, and we got on, and we had fun, and he was great. But I could tell that they were just. This is when the left, they kicked themselves in the foot, because those kids were sick of hearing leftist stuff. They were actually breaking away from it. I taught a Mexican and black classroom. I didn't have any white kids in the classroom. It was just that kind of school, right? We didn't have very much money, and that's where I wanted to learn, because I knew it would be more challenging. But they were so ready to just hear anything that wasn't rah rah rah, team left rah rah. They were just so happy to hear anything that wasn't that. And so when I came in with like a centrist point of view, and I started instead of dictating to them, I would ask them questions and say, oh, you know, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about that? That got them more involved, you know, and a lot of them still stayed, well, I think I'm more left, you know? But a few of them were like, you know what, I think I'm centrist. And a few of them, 1 or 2, were like, I actually think I'm more conservative the way my family thinks and the way I think, right? So it just let people just be themselves, right, in the classroom. And don't pull this stuff into the fucking hobby. This is what happens, right? Anyway, following the result of the election, the LGS local game store aligned group became more radicalized, many declaring themselves outright communist, and the peace that existed in the group was broken. I also do think, away from the story, if it was the other way around, and, you know, the right lost, and then they just started declaring themselves as far right, you know, those people, it would get a lot stronger reaction than somebody just declaring themselves communist, and it shouldn't, because, you know, communism's just as fucking evil, trust me. It devolved into petty arguments and declarations of our side being fascists and racists, and every other ist and phobe you can think of, despite none of that being true. When we gathered for events, our group was intentionally given matches with each other, or the couple hardcore metagamers or players that tended to cheat, etc., every single time. I finally said enough was enough after the store owner's child who ran the shop part-time began levelling accusation at me and belittling me and my painting skills to new players when they would come in to play with me. I haven't been to the local game store since, and since the closest group I know is about 2 hours away, one way, I don't know what to do for gaming. Should I just man up and suffer the abuse, or make the 2 hour journey just to get maybe a game once a week? Appreciate your insight and hope you have a great week. Yeah, this is a really toughie. This is a toughie. It depends how much you like playing the game, man. And to me, that's not worth the hassle. It's not worth the stress of going into a hobby store and getting shit like that. It's just not worth it to me. That would really bug me, and so I wouldn't do it. You know, you can do whatever you want, of course. You know, if you feel like going to the store and getting a bit of abuse and being in a place where you're not welcome, that's up to you. But this is a really shitty situation, and this is why you don't bring politics into the hobby, because as soon as you do, one side will get agitated, and you'll figure out very quickly that, you know, the far left and far right sides of both arguments are fucking douche nozzles, and they will try and keep you out of their gaming space. That they're not adult enough or secure enough in their own intelligence to actually allow you to be a part of their gaming circle, because they can't stand anyone not having their point of view, because it somehow invalidates their entire existence. God knows why they think that, but they do, right? And this is exactly why reasonable people shouldn't talk about politics in a hobby store, or on a night out, or anywhere that isn't specifically to do with politics, to be honest with you. Because it just invites bullshit like this. And, you know, and you get good people who then don't have games to play, because they've got to go elsewhere. It really sucks that it's 2 hours away. That really sucks. I mean, I know virtual is a thing. You could do it virtually, but at the same time, you know, you put effort into building and painting your models. You don't really want to have to do that. For me, you know, I'll be honest with you. I only play games once or twice a month, and I'm fine. So, you know, I think it goes on that. You know what I mean? It goes on. How often do you need to play the game, right, to get enjoyment out of the hobby? If it's every single week, or you're not going to enjoy the hobby, then I just go back. You know, even though it's stressful, try and get. Here's what you need to do. If you have any other friends who think the same way as you do politically, or they think the same way that I do, and that politics shouldn't be in the store, and they know what you're like, they know you're not one of these ists or phobes, right? Then bring them to the store. Try and outnumber the people who are there, or try and get a bigger block of people that you can play. Like 5, 6, 7 people at that store. And ignore them. Say, oh, fuck you, man. I'm using your space. You know what I mean? Like you know, I'm playing a game here. And if they try and kick you out, then fair enough. Then the decision's made for you, isn't it? You know? Because they'll just say, well, this person's this, and then this is a phobe, and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. So I just try it. If you need to play games every single week, I would just go back with more people, to be honest with you, that think like you do. If you're like me, and you can get along with 1 or 2 games every single week, then why don't you get those same people who used to go to the local game store, but you know, were turned away a little bit, but like you were, why don't you say to them, hey, why don't we all get in a car and we'll make a day trip of it once a fortnight? So once a fortnight, we'll all jump in the car together, we'll go to this place that's 2 hours away, we'll play a few games, and if you want to, do it once a month and stay there overnight, and play 6 or 7 games and come back in the morning. You know, there are ways and means of getting around this without having to just say it's one or the other. That's what I'm saying. So, hopefully one of those 2 suggestions is good. And, yeah, we'll move on. Grim's Instinct says, hey North, I'm back again. Yes, you are. He says, I'm back at it with another annoying story that happened this past weekend. Okay, my brother and I went to play at our local tournament last Saturday. My games were fun, and my Black Templars did what they needed to do against Iron Hands, Imperial Guard, and Death Guard. My brother had 2 nice games, but the third and last was special. My brother playing Blood Angels, and the opponent using AdMech. Oh god, yeah, I've faced this AdMech list, I think. It was the AdMech guy's first tournament he played, and he wasn't doing very well. Oh, that's a shame. However, him smacking the table, throwing dice, or getting up to walk away for every minute, for a minute at a time, something bad happened to him, was something that we couldn't abide by. On the first turn, my brother accidentally dropped Terminators from Deep Strike. He had forgot you can't do that, even though the Terminators died and didn't kill or tag any AdMech. Oh, that's a bit shit. The opponent constantly forgot to raise banners, to use strategies, or to shoot a unit. My brother, feeling bad about the game being so one-sided, let him do these things to keep the game going. At the end, my brother with 87 and the AdMech guy with 20 in terms of victory points. Once he lost, he called the tournament organizer and told him about the early Deep Strike. Because of this, my brother lost 62 to 67. When awards were handed out, the AdMech guy got Most Honourable General and Good Sportsmanship. I don't know how the little tantrums he was throwing that he got this award. Needless to say, my brother's mood was ruined or soured that night, and he was quite quiet on the way home. I was rather upset for him as well, and I hope you have a quick opinion on this little story. Have a good week, North. Well, I hope he's listening, because, let me, one sec. Because it's dickheads like this who, like this opponent right here, who make people power game. This guy deserved no mercy. To hold it in for the entire game and then, get him done on a technicality to win the game. That's really shitty, because that just makes everybody feel shit. That guy who's done that is going to go home, and if he literally thinks, oh wow, that was such a good win for me, he's mentally ill, right? And maybe he is. He's just not attached to reality, but at the same time, that is an absolutely shitty thing to do. Considering the other person was being so considerate to you during the game, that is a shitty thing to do. So, I'll be honest with you, these games happen. I've had them before. I had one guy when I was at university, he outnumbered me. I was Grey Knights and he was Demons, and he outnumbered me like 4-1. Even though we were doing like 2,000 points, he outnumbered me something like 4-1. God knows how that was happening. And he got his absolute shit pushed in, because lo and behold, Grey Knights are good at fighting demons, and he started. So when I shot his flying demon prince out of the sky, essentially, with Skyfire, which is 6s to hit in 7th edition, but I somehow with Storm Bolters took down 3 wounds off of him, and he just crashed and burned. He's died. Right, that was it. Those were his last wounds. And he literally slammed the table and started accusing me of over-pointing, like having more stuff on the table than I should have had. I was like, dude, 2,000 points of Grey Knights is not a small amount. Like, you get quite a few Grey Knights for 2,000 points, especially if you don't use any vehicles, which I didn't. I was all infantry. I think I had 1 unit Purifiers. I've got the list here, hang on. Because I was going to use it at 9th at some point. Yeah, 1 unit of Purifiers, 1 unit of normal Grey Knight Interceptors, 3 units of Terminators, no, 2 units of Terminators, 1 unit of Paladins, Castellan Crow, Drago, and 2 Dread Knights. Oh, and a Grandmaster, there you go. That's it. That was the list. Yeah, so he's rending his garments and pointing at me, saying I'm cheating, this and that and the other. And in the end, the tournament organizer for the campaign that weekend came over, and he said, well, we can actually see, whether we've been, whether somebody's been over-pointing. And he found out, no, I was actually under-pointing. I was like 1,900 and something, And I mean, we looked at him, and his points were like, lo and behold, 2,400 and something, whatever it was. So, anyway, he declared the match a draw, because he was getting, the other guy was getting so irate that it was distracting from the other games. So to shut him up, he gave him a draw. He literally tabled, but gave him a draw, and I was just like, yeah, I'm not playing this fucking tournament. I'm sorry, I had 2 games left. I was like, listen, put me at the bottom of the list. But if these are the people that you've got playing at this fucking tournament, I don't want to be here. This is ridiculous. You know, he took a loss. He cheated, then lost. Then he was given a draw by you because he was whinging. No, sorry, I'm out. See you later. And you know, it's really sad that your brother didn't say, like, hey, this is bullshit, you know, and just really have a go and say, look, this guy was being a dickhead the entire time. Or maybe you should have said that, I don't know. But maybe you guys just aren't that like that. Not everybody's like that, you know what I mean? And this shouldn't have been on you to... It shouldn't have been on you to do this anyway. It shouldn't have been on you to remedy the situation. You know, the tournament organizer should be able to come over and go, oh, we made an honest mistake. Okay, what did the Terminators do? Nothing. Okay, well... Je ne sais quoi, whatever. I don't care. Fucking get on with it, you know? Just, you're adults. Get on with it. But yeah, it's really, really shitty that happened to your little brother, man. And I hope he's not put off by the hobby doing that, because I almost was. You know, I had a friend of mine. I think I've told the story before. I had a friend of mine when I first got into Grey Knights at the start of university. And he was working at Games Workshop at the time. And so he knew the meta and knew everything about the game that you needed to know. And he played me with an artillery-based Tyranids list, you know, just shooting big, you know, blobs up the field. 1,000-point game. He just blasted me off the table, top of turn 1. I'm just was very smug the entire time, and I was just like, yeah, I don't want to play this. I don't want to be in this hobby. This is fucking shit. I don't want to be here. And you know, unfortunately, you know, it just is what it is. Like I very nearly walked from the hobby. I really hope he doesn't do that, because, you know, sounds to me like he deserves to be there. So, you know. And, do you know what? I'd say go and play that guy again. Because he's obviously shit. Go find any excuse to play that guy again. And push his fucking shit in. Bring the most overpowered, nasty piece of shit list that you can. Right? Go up to that guy and say, listen, you know, let's have another game. Get all of your rules right. You know what I mean? Like just memorize the shit out of them. And really push his shit in. Just be like, yeah, okay, right. How about this? You don't even get those 20 points that I help you to get this time. I get 90 points, you get 5. Go fuck yourself. Right? This is one of the only times where I would legitimately say crushing somebody is completely appropriate. Right? Normally I would never say that, but this is completely appropriate. What a little bitch. Anyway. Carrying on. Our next story is by somebody called Anonymous, because they didn't want their name shared. So, here we go. Or, if you want to do an anonymous message, I know it's a bit of a faff. Maybe you could do what the last submitter did, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, Anonymous says, hi there, North. It's me again. Anonymous. The madly in love dude that hopes to be anonymous once again. Okay, no problem. I will take your advice to heart. However, for now, I am building my courage and waiting for the proper moment to talk to her about this. Okay, so, for those of you who don't know context, 1, you should go and watch the rest of my video, stop being so fucking lazy. Number 2, this is somebody who met the woman of his dreams at the hobby store, and they seem to be getting on really, really, really well, but it turns out that she's not really reciprocating a lot of his advances in terms of, you know, hey, should we go for a coffee or something like that. And I advised him to put all of his cards on the table, yeah, and say, look, whatever happens, you know, you lay your cards out and say, look, this doesn't change our friendship at all. I just would kick myself if I never asked the question. You know, would you want to go out with me properly? I can already see some of the soy boys on the Discord quoting me on that one. I'm like clipping it and putting it in a fucking alarm clock or something. I'm joking, obviously. If you like my voice, you wait until you see the webcam. All of your illusions will be shattered and you'll be like, oh, you'll be tearing down your posters and all sorts. It's going to be horrible. Anyway. So, he says, I will take your advice to heart. However, for now, I am building my courage and waiting for the proper moment to talk to her about this. In some way, I want to test the waters some more to probe to see if she is available, has a boyfriend or girlfriend, you know what I mean. No, man, no. Rip the band-aid off. Just do it. Don't. You're second-guessing yourself again. All guys do this. Stop doing that. Just do it. Like, it's not going to change. Like, maybe say to her, before you even ask anything, hey, do you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? Right? Because there could be any reason why you're saying that. You know? She's not going to lie and say, you know what I mean? Like, she's going to say, oh, no, or yes, you know, but it's going to be a truthful, you know, response. Because you could after that say, oh, well, if you are, then invite them out, because I'm going to, you know, a double date with this other person, or I know somebody who really likes you, that sort of, you know, that sort of a thing. You could be about to say that. So, yeah, I'd just come out and say, but before you start anything, just say, hey, are you single? Do you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? She says no, and say, okay, in that case, and lay it out. That just takes that crux away, because I hate it when people use that. So I'm kind of seeing somebody, no, you're fucking not, you liar. Like, you know, just have the balls to say I'm not interested. Just have the balls, just say it. I've said it. You know, other people have said it to me. Just be truthful. Have a bit of respect for the person who's, like, putting their fucking, you know, their feelings on the line for you. Have a bit of respect and just give them an honest answer. Anyway, moving on. Funnily enough, we spoke again after her big exam. Like 30 minutes or something like that. She hinted that she wants me to teach her how to play Warhammer 40,000. At least I think she was hinting at me. Either way, I was thinking of giving her some 3D prints for her AdMech as congratulations for her surviving the exams. Cute stuff, I reckon, since it's like a tiny Secretari and 2 toasters on legs with guns. I have read the other comments on the video, people thinking she might just be leading me on or just keeping me in some sort of limbo. To be honest, I had moments when I thought that all this is just a ruse or some pointless thing to pursue, that she is probably not interested and so on. But it just brightens my day when she writes, her enthusiasm makes my day better. Same applied today when we spoke. I had a horrible day at work and that kept me down, but the second I saw a message from her, my day had just a ray of sunshine and that kept me dumbly smiling. Thanks again for the input from you in your comment section, I really appreciate it. As I said at the beginning, for now, I will test the waters a bit to see if I can get some better hints regarding her status. I'll get back to you as soon as I can regarding the subject. Okay. Alright, so, brilliant. That's great. But I've been in a situation before where you really like somebody. You know, you really like them. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. Most of the time when you think this way about somebody, they don't think the same way back. Mainly because it's a strength of feeling. So if you're getting texts from this person and you're just like, you're so like, you know, oh, this is great, you know, I really like this person, she's so hot, she's so fucking, you know, everything about her is just perfect for me. And if they're not acting like your texts are doing the same thing to them as theirs are to you, one of the best things I learned in life was being able to fucking walk, is knowing your own worth. It's incredibly hard to do that, especially if you're lonely. In fact, I'd say it's probably the hardest discipline you can do in terms of relationships is knowing when to walk, when to say, no, do you know what, I'm worth... I don't want to be somebody's option. I want to be the number one thing. I want to be their number one priority. You know, I want them to smile when they think of me and when they get texts from me. And it seems to me like this girl thinks that you're really cool and thinks that you're into some of the same shit that she's into, and that you're not creepy and you haven't pushed the boat out and you haven't tried to sleep with her and stuff. But if this is wrecking your head, you owe it to yourself to get this out of your system and say, listen, here are my cards, fuck this, you know? Here are my cards. And if you still want to be friends, I would love to still be friends if you're not interested. But if you are, and this is what this is, then please, you know, not please, but you know, if that is what this is, then please allow me to ask you out. I'd like to go out for a drink. I'd like to do this. I'd like to do that. Leave the please allow me to, because that just snuck into my fucking thinking because my eye was caught by something else. But yeah, definitely get out there and take the advice that I gave last time. Get it out your system, get it out the way. The quicker it's broken, the quicker it heals. And being honest, right? So, you never know, she might be into you. She might be into you. All the signs that I'm seeing are kind of pointing me towards she thinks you're cool. I'm not quite as cynical of some of the people in the comments and in the chat. But yeah, sometimes, because sometimes I do realise that, you know, women can be nerds as well, and sometimes they just want to have friends, and they don't want to be propositioned every single time they think someone's cool. But there are also women. How do you think these geeky women find relationships? It's because people like you grow a pair of balls and eventually ask them out. So fucking ask her out, get her out your system. Quicker it's over with, quicker it's done. Just do it, right? And let me know how it goes. Anyway, you did send me a hobby story as well, but that'll be in the next batch as well, anonymous, so there you go. Which I'll use your name for when we do the actual hobby story that you sent in. Anyway, Viorp says, oh yeah, before we start this one, I've read this and it was an extremely interesting story. But again, you have to remember, this is about a story about a YouTuber, another YouTuber. And if the YouTuber in question would like to answer any of the accusations or whatever, they are free to do so. This is only half the story, and all of those disclaimers, right? Alright. I sincerely doubt they will, though, because, you know, my reach is quite tiny. I mean, my channel's reach is quite tiny. Anyway. So he says, this was some years back, and I was fresh out of high school. Been but a few months when I found out what D&D even is, Dungeons and Dragons, and wished to try it out a lot. But finding people to play on Roll20 was unsuccessful, let's say. Then, lo and behold, a YouTuber I enjoyed watching announced he'll make a West March server, which is like a shared D&D MMO world where lots of campaigns go on simultaneously with no set parties. I deem it worth giving a try and join in. Read up on the lore. It's inspired by the Baltic Crusades mixed with real Crusades. Guess the Jerusalem of this world is in Sweden. Okay, cool. That sounds pretty cool. I decide to play a lizard folk cleric, whose backstory is being a priest from the south, who chose to join the crusade in a faraway land to help reclaim the Holy Land for the sake of all not Christianity. The way you got games here was a living hell. Basically, a DM, one of like 7, came out and announced he will run something, and then it's first come, first serve. I got into a party of 5 people, and the game was about to start when suddenly Neckbeardia, the YouTuber, himself joined. We were all level 1 and he was level 3, as he got to play some games already. We completed the quest, and the session was fun. Our reward was a pirate boat. That's pretty cool. Upon which Neckbeardia claimed it for the Holy Order. He was the big YouTuber, so no one complained. But he just stole the party's quest reward from himself, and we were left with nothing. Well, okay. Another player I hit it off with hit me up in the DMs, and we raged out how we disliked the situation. How the guy just declared he has an organisation and everything is his. He just so happened to be a lizard folk fighter, and so we declared ourselves the Lizard Bros. That's pretty cool. Lizard Bros, okay. Scaly ones would have been good, you know. But anyway, Lizard Bros works. It was supposed to be just the 2 of us, but we were in different games, and we became a server meme. We effectively became a whole organisation on our own. It is then when Neckbeardia officially announced the Holy Order. It initially was supposed to be something you found out about IC, I don't know what that means, and have to investigate in sessions and be invited to join. But Lizard Bros were catching up in numbers because a lot of new players decided to pick Lizard Folk as a meme to join us. It did not help that the Holy Order only accepted humans and dwarves. It's a bit racist. As a sign of good faith, he then created 2 guild chats, one for the Holy Order and one for the Lizard Bros. Then we set up in a way that everyone saw the chats existed, but only the authorised members could read what was said inside the chat, except the admins and DMs, of course. The meme war between the Holy Order and the Lizard Bros intensified, and it was making memes to mock each other all day long. It was generally a light-hearted competition, with there being even a mini quest line where we cooperated to catch the Devil Man, a demon worshipper who dug out the corpse of a saint for demonic rituals, said saint having saved Lizard Bro's life as well, being a saint to the Holy Order. Then we caught him together. Neckbeardy decided he did not want to keep it light-hearted. Alright, let's get on it. Up to this point, seems pretty cool. It seems like a really cool server. But then Neckbeardy decided he did not want to keep it light-hearted. Okay. One day, when we had the typical meme arguments, he joined in and got made fun of. Oh yeah, this is not going to go down well. This prompted him to create a list of fake screenshots from inside the Lizard Bros chat, in some cases putting our names over some really disgusting shit. And because the other users could not see inside our chat, they believed him exposing us. What disgusting shit? Well, graphic lizard porn. Like, literal hentai with anthropomorphic lizards having sex. Okay, the lusty Argonian maid and shit like that, I suppose. Here, I will add not a single one of us ever shared that, and we had our separate server too, because we knew Neckbeardy was keeping up with our chat. No one ever posted any sort of porn. Everyone enjoyed role-playing lizard men like they are portrayed in Volo's Guide to Monsters as cannibalistic autists who don't have emotions. A light-hearted meme war changed into something very nasty. He'd repost those fake messages relentlessly in the #announcements channel, the one only mods and admins could post in, so none of us could debunk it or respond to it. People started attacking members of the Lizard Bros as furries and trying to kill us in game due to conflict with the Holy Order, which was brought into IC, as we rejected an invitation to become a subject order to them. He even posted the fake pictures of us being supposed furries/zoophiles to his official Reddit. Worst of all, only one DM, who were also mods, actually ran games with us and told us that Neckbeardy told DMs to not run games for us. But he liked us, so he didn't care, as he hated how shitty things had become and wanted out anyway. Slowly, due to the harassment, our members dwindled, and to keep up, we accepted Kobold and Turtle members. But people left one by one. The Sentient was mostly one. Okay. People wanted to just have fun playing D&D, not be insulted and attacked all day long, and effectively fight a propaganda war against the guy owning the actual server. I left the day Neckbeardy received his award from YouTube, supposedly being dared to do so. He posted a picture of his balls on top of the thing. He made sure to at everyone in announcements, so every single one of the near 1,000 members of his server saw it. Haha! We've got more people on our server. Suck it! Anyway, sorry. Out of which I can officially say like half were under 18. Oh god. Oof. God, that's who is this guy? Let me do a little YouTube search here. Beard. I mean, the name itself is you know. So he does D&D stories, right? That's what they do? Neckbeardia?
What's the...
Oh, it's a guy and a woman. It's two folks. I don't know who these people are. Anyway, feel free to... Not that any of you care, because, you know... I'm like a tiny little YouTuber, but, you know... If you want to respond, you can do. Whilst he certainly posted graphic porn, lizard porn and genitals and all, before it was like drawings and he did not at everyone, but posting his own genitals for everyone to see, that was crossing a line for me. I should have considered that line crossed long ago, to be honest, but I guess I was optimistic that I'd have fun playing there again. It is a sad story. The guy still has a big channel and actually has a child with his wife, whom he already dated. During the whole West March fiasco. Oh, okay, that's cool. Alright, well, I hope they're happy. His channel actually started off as one of those green text-to-speech channels, but when YouTube banned text-to-speech content, he exploded as his girlfriend started reading the text instead, leaving him effectively the only one on the market. A small petty man who wanted to be the protagonist leading his group of protagonists, and when other people also got some of the limelight, the whole situation became so infuriating that he instead chose to bully and harass his own fans into quitting. Anyway, after the Lizard Bros fiasco and the Balls fiasco, the server was soon after shut down and never heard of again. That's really shitty. You know, it reminds me, if anyone can remember this video, there was a video a while ago which was I think that's why it's not on there anymore, because it was a text-to-speech sounding voice, but it was a Fallout New Vegas server, like this, like text-based server, and it was an Enclave guy and a really racist Legion guy, who just like, you know, together, they just formed a group together and ended up like winning the entire game over like, you know, several months. But even the good guys are playing into it like, this is so cool, we've got this war going on, and it's like really going really well. If anyone can find that somewhere, I've looked for it. I used to listen to it in work all the time in like late 2018, because it was just such an addictive story, and I really wanted to listen to it again, but you know, I can't find it anywhere. But anyway, cheers for the story of Yorp. There'll be more from him in the coming weeks because he's got more stories to send in. By the way, I do these in batches, so if yours isn't read out in one, it doesn't mean it's never going to be read out. It just means that it's going to be in another batch. I just put them in like 5 or 6 story batches. I think I'm on like batch 8 now. So if you're on batch 8, you're in batch 9, you'll be next. I don't tell you what batch you're in, of course, but you know, just, you know, be patient. They will be read out. Anyway, so Firestorm9 says, "Hey Exile, hello. How are you? Just thought I'd chime in asking for some advice for a fellow dirtbag." Cheeky bastard. What a dirtbag. I'm nice. "I met my lady friend at our local game store a year ago, and she is great. Lovely to look at, really funny and intelligent." Alright, this guy's living the dream. "I am truly lucky to be with her, but the fact that this may be my last, as in my wife, kinda scares me." Alright, yes, you're getting freaked out by... Yeah, that'll happen, man. "I am thinking of asking her to marry me, and I'm pretty sure she'd say yes. Anyway, now that the context is out of the way, here is the issue. So my lady has her own place, and sometimes I crash there for obvious reasons, after we go out on a date, or we are just having a weekend in. I have my own place too. One weekend, her sister comes to stay, and as soon as I look at her, every red-blooded male cell in my body is screaming. If my lady is a solid 8, this girl is a 10. Fucking harsh. Jesus. Okay. Porcelain skin, black hair, flat tummy, womanly curves, huge tits, not to mention a very cute face and an amazing smile. Alright. My lady, you see, is the shy and awkward nerd sister of the two. As such, we don't have sex that often. She likes it, but my drive is way higher. And she even told me once that if we are years down the road in our relationship and I felt the urge and she wasn't in the mood, I could just get an escort or something. Whoa. Weird, right? I mean, we love each other, but I always felt like that cheating was the end of things. It is. But if she is, some women are like real bros, and they realise that a guy is just built to shag, essentially. Like this is what you're built for, and if you're not getting it, you're gonna act out. You're gonna start acting out. If you don't replace that with something else, you're gonna start acting out. So, you know, you'll find that some women who are in relationships who are kind of asexual will end up saying to you, well, why didn't you just go and, you know, get her an escort, or, you know, as long as you don't love her, you know. Because here's the thing. Women love us for more than attractiveness. Attractiveness will get you a long way. But as soon as it's like a life hack, as soon as you figure out that women actually like men for things that are more than looking like, you know, Brad Pitt or someone, you right? That is a huge life hack, because your confidence is skyrockets. You're like, yeah, why can't I date this woman? Why can't I? Because I don't look great? Yeah, but what about everything else I've got going for me? You know? I'm funny. You know, so sometimes that's enough. You know, sometimes being funny and sincere and, you know, being out there in terms of your confidence and you don't give a shit, that's enough. Doesn't matter what you look like, you know? So yeah, that is a definite thing. Women will sometimes do that. Women will sometimes, you know, they don't. If a woman isn't into sex, like, she really doesn't put any importance on it, you'll be surprised by how many of them don't give a shit. Don't just go and cheat on them, but you'll be surprised how many of them, if you bring up, look, I'm gonna explode here, I need to fuck something, and they don't want to, they'll either end the relationship, which is fine, because at the end of the day, you know, who wants to go without? Not me, alright? Or they'll be like, you know what, just go and fucking get an escort then, you know, I don't care, like, this is what it is. You'll be very surprised. So, yeah, it is weird, but not as weird as people think. You know, it is something that happens. Men tend to put on ownership on vaginas. You know, it's our thing. Right? If we're with a woman, that vagina's ours. No other man is allowed to go inside there. That's ours. You're like losing, you know what I mean? Like you're losing some form of control, some sort of male control, if you're letting somebody else invade that, you know, invade that space. That belongs to us, right? That's how normal men think. Like they just think, oh, you know, it doesn't compute, right? It just doesn't compute with us. That is an inbuilt thing, right? We don't want to bring up one of the main fears of men in any part of the animal kingdom is bringing up another man's kids. Which is why when a lion gets a new partner, he will kill her children because he's not bringing them up. They're not his, right? That's just, you know, that's the part of the male ego that switches when, you know, when the wife cheating. That's why we put so much importance on sex. For men, sex is very, 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 very important, and physical attractiveness is very, 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 very important. A man will marry a woman who's hot, who's a fucking asshole. Right? That no woman that I know would marry a hot arsehole. They just wouldn't. Like if they had like a Henry Cavill who's a prick, they would probably sleep with him, and then they'd moan about it, and they'd moan about it to guys like us, going, "No, you cheated me like shit," but they'd never marry him. Do you know what I mean? Like it just wouldn't happen, right? So, yeah, you know, men, we're very much wrapped up in the physical side of things. Even the guys who aren't are still at some level wrapped up in the physical side of things, which, you know, is what it is, because, you know, we value sex. There's a really cool thing that I heard the other day, and that is that women control access to sex and men control access to relationships. That's just the most perfect way I can put it, right? Men control access to relationships and women control access to sex. That's generally how it goes, right? You know, there's always flippy bits. You know, there's always bits where the factor doesn't track. Like certain situations, like Anonymous before, right? You know, he really likes this woman, blah, 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 and he really wants to be in a relationship with her. But we know that's code for, I really want to fuck this girl. Let's be honest, right? Anyway, I'll carry on with the story. So, yeah, so this guy is dating a hot lady who is an 8. Okay, fair enough. I don't tend to number ladies, but she's pretty good looking, and she's a hobbyist, also great. But she has an incredibly hot sister who then moves in with him and his girlfriend, and essentially, you know, all right, I'll just read the rest of the story. So, sister is staying with us, and she gets out of the shower. After she gets out of the shower, she walks around with just a towel on, getting things from the refrigerator, or just applying lotion to herself after she's bathed. This is naturally she is naturally very flirty, and has complained in front of us that she has not been laid in ages. Fucking hell. Sometimes she does the shower stuff and comments when my lady is not home too. Dude, how many times have you banged one out? Your wrist has got to be falling off at this point. Yeah, if it was me, I'd be permanently just lying in an ice bath, just constantly, just leave me alone. She's been here for a few weeks now, as she's going to move to our area of the US, as she has a new job here. I will lay this out here. I want to bang this girl. No shit, Sherlock, yeah. Like 2 fists full of hair, bang. What's more, if my radar is working, I think she'd be open to the suggestion. What the fuck do I do, Exile? My lady is into all the same stuff as me, but the sex is just not cutting it, even when it happens. But I do love her, and I am very attracted to her. But her sister... Most men would smash through brick walls to get to her, and she seems to be laying down the gauntlet here for me to whip that towel off and hurl her against the countertop in the kitchen. What would you do? Don't worry about my name. Also, I used a new account for this message. Best. Right. So... God, this is a difficult one. I was going to say this is a hard one, but I think we got that from the story already. So, oh my dear. Oh, mate, my heart goes out to you, my friend. I was in a very similar situation when I was in the States. I haven't really explained it, because at the time I didn't know whether my ex was looking at the videos or not. I don't think she is, though. I don't think she gives a shit. So, I was in a very similar situation. So, I can only tell you what I thought at the time, and what I ended up doing. And I didn't end up sleeping with her sister, for anyone who's curious. So, I was dating a girl. In fact, I was due to be marrying a girl. I was engaged. And I would call her a very attractive woman. Beautiful, like, you know. But out of the two sisters, she was beautiful, and her sister was hot. There is a difference, right? You would marry my girl, but you would fuck her sister. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. The men are all nodding right now. You know, literally, men in the audience. The 99% are all nodding. Yeah, know what you mean. Right, so... and they were dressed that way too. So the girl I was going to marry she was very elegant in the way she dressed, and she was very ladylike, and she was very... And I loved that about her. She was really into Tolkien, she was really into all geeky stuff, and it was really great. And her sister wasn't into any of that stuff. She was into, like, you know, 70s style David Bowie, shit like that. But she would always wear... She had... Anyway. Whatever. So moving on. I wasn't getting any IOIs from her, from what I know. I mean, other people were saying that I was, but I genuinely don't think I was. Definitely not in the same stuff that you're getting. It was literally watching her walk about the place, and like hardly anything on was really like, cause it was just like, if I could design a woman in a lab, it would look something like her sister, basically. You know what I mean? It looked something like that. And to me, I just had to focus on, was it worth tanking my relationship, not just with my fiance at the time, but with her family, to get inside this woman, even if she was interested, right? And for all I knew, she wasn't. That might have been a cope from me, though. Now, the more I think about it, the more it was just a cope. I was just like, I don't want to think that she likes me, so I'm just gonna fucking pretend she, you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. It's in the past, whatever. But anyway, I ended up not making the decision not to do anything, and just saying, look, it is what it is. And when we broke up, I was staying in that same house for 6 weeks, and that's when I started getting the vibes. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I better do something with my time here. And I ended up dating somebody else because I just needed to get out of my system. And I really liked the other person I was dating as well. I was like, yeah, this person's really, really cool. So I ended up getting out of it that way, and I, because our relationship broke apart quite naturally without me having to like bang her sister or anything. So for you need to look at. You've already casted some doubts on your relationship in this post, right? In this email, you've already cast some doubts on your relationship. You need to figure out whether this woman is the woman for you, and if she's not, then you need to let her go, dude. You need to do the grown-up thing and take a walk and just say, look, I really like you, but there's something about this relationship that isn't quite right to me. I like you, but you want to get married, and I don't want to marry you, and sometimes you got to be harsh to be kind. It just is what it is. One thing I don't want you to think, if you're looking at her sister like she's hot and you really want to fuck her, that doesn't mean you don't love the woman you're with. Right? Because I thought that for years. Right? And I never thought, well, it obviously means I don't love my fiance. No, of course I did. Right? I'm just a man. I just look at these beautiful things and I go, wow, that's a beautiful thing. And it is what it is. And put her in the wank bank, dude. Just have all the fantasies of her that you want. Just do whatever you want. Do whatever you need to do, but just don't cross that line if you think that this woman is the woman you want to be with the rest of your life. If she's not, I would vacate the premises. Okay? Vacate the premises. And then you've got a decision to make. Right? If you're out of that relationship, you've then got a decision to make. Do you make the ballsy play? And the ballsy play is, you go back to the sister and say, look, the reason why I split up with your sister is that, you know, I really like you, sort of a thing. If she's quite promiscuous, as you've been making out, then maybe that will go in that direction, and you'll see. But I'm telling you now, the chances are very, very slim. Very slim indeed. But if it seems to me like the bigger issue here isn't actually the sister, it's you and this woman's relationship. And you think that you've met a unicorn, but the idea of you getting married is scaring you because you're looking at this woman and thinking, is this it? Is this it now? Is this all I'm going to get, right? And then, lo and behold, in comes the sister. It's like the universe is saying, hey, look what you could be getting elsewhere. You need to figure out what kind of relationship you want to be in. Do you want to be in this relationship or not? If the answer is yes, then you know what you have to do, right? Just continue to bang one out on your own and get on with it. But I would suggest, for if sex means a lot to you, and it does to a lot of men, like, this is not something that you want to be involved in. Like, this is not the kind of woman you want to be spending the rest of your life with, because you'll end up acting out and you'll end up hating each other. I'm very grateful now that me and my ex aren't together anymore, because as much as I was heartbroken by it at the time, I can't deal with a woman with a low libido. I just can't. I just can't. Like, it's just not something that, it's not for me. Sorry, you know, go waste somebody else's time. Like, I've got shit to do here, namely you. So if you don't mind, like, just, I just wouldn't have worked, and I would have ended up cheating on her and hurting her, because it just would have happened. Eventually, 20 years down the line, I'd be fighting to sneeze, if you know what I mean. So I would end up just, acting out, and I would never want to do that to the woman that I love. So it's all about finding the person who fits your, shall I say, your beliefs, yeah, things like that, yeah, definitely. But also your libido, man. Like, if it means a lot to both people most of the time, but definitely to dudes, it means a lot. So if she's not willing to do that, if she's not willing to be in a sexual relationship with you, and this sister is driving you insane, it's time to leave the relationship. I don't know, like, I'm just getting that vibe from you. I'm just getting that vibe from what you've said. And be aware. I'm not an expert. I'm just giving you honest advice from one friend to another. From what you've said, it just doesn't seem right that you're talking this way about, hey, the sex isn't that great. We hardly ever have it. Blah blah, and it means a lot to me. Well, that's a huge impasse, dude. It doesn't seem like it is. It is, but it is. It is a huge impasse in a relationship like that. So, if you do split up with her, and you're still getting IOIs from the sister, you're still getting, like, indicators of interest from the sister, then, get it out your system. Just bang the shit out of her, because, and then leave. The best case scenario is either she moves out and you end up happily ever after with your original partner here, or you move out and end up banging her sister. Those are the two things that are going to happen here, or that you're going to attempt to achieve, right? You're going to attempt to achieve one of those two outcomes. Which one is right for you depends on how much you actually want to be with your original partner. And from what I'm getting from your message, you're not really that into staying with this partner, because there's a huge impasse here, and it's driving you insane, and this woman's already told you that you can just fucking cheat on her with an escort. I mean, it's not as freaky as people think, but still, I would treat that as a red flag if it was me. Anyway, those are my hobby nightmares. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please, if you enjoyed it, go and check out Composite Games. They do 5% off at checkout, but you could end up with 25% off at checkout if you use the promo code Northern Exile down below. Not only are you helping them, you're helping me get more prizes for you in the prize draw that is on the 22nd of July. Next month. 22nd of July, and we'll be having another prize draw for two £30 prizes of free models. You get to decide what they are. Oh, amazing. Thank you very much for watching. Love you all long time, and see you soon. Have a good one.